What is going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a great day. I wanted to make a video for all the beginners out there or people that don't know that much about cars so that you don't get screwed over, because since I've been doing this since I was 15, I have actually had a lot of mistakes that some of you guys may not know about, but I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes. So I'm going to go over the 5 most important things to check for on a used car so that you don't get screwed over and you can reduce your risk and maximize your profit if you go to resell it in the future. So come with me and I will show you guys how I do it personally. So this is a 2003 Honda CR-V. It is a very reliable car. But assume that you're going to check this car out. You want to walk around the entire car and look for paint imperfections. So not only you want to check if the paint has been repainted, one way you want to check and see if the paint has been repainted. One way you can do this is by noticing orange peel. First off, do the colors match? Is this red on this panel the same as this panel? When you repaint a car, they typically either, if this has been hit right here, they will either get a new panel, Bondo this old panel, and then repaint it. And a lot of times it won't match. So, from just visibility, do these colors line up from this door to this door? Another way to check to see if a car's been repainted is, does it have a lot of orange peel? So you can look down a car and look at the reflection. I don't know if you can get that, but if you look at the reflection and notice the sidewalk, how clear it is on this panel and how clear it is on this panel. If this one's a little more foggy, that's a good indication that the panel has been repainted and it wasn't wet sanded good enough to match the clarity of this original factory paint panel. That is a very, very good tip. I'm gonna pass the camera back. But as you're walking around, first off, make sure that you're confident. The seller will know if you either know a lot or don't. If you don't know a lot, still just act confident. Walk around the car, scan. Here, you can tell that the clear coat has faded off this. It gets to 120 degrees in Arizona. That is common. That's something that you must understand when going to resell it again. But that is a good indication that the clear coat has faded. It's very foggy. There's nothing left. If you look under here, there's proof that that clear coat is still there because this has shaded that over the years. This handle has, and other than that, nothing else is there. So if you keep looking, you keep going around, you want to check for your tires. So whenever you're looking at tires, you want to make sure that they're good. And if I don't have a quarter on me, but it's usually, I think, a rule of thumb of if you're using a penny, it's the head of, I don't even know who's on the penny. Well, I don't know that. Anyways, you want to make sure that these tires are good regardless. Honestly, I don't want to go too in depth about that because honestly, everyone knows what looks good on a tire and what doesn't. But while you're doing all this, this is step number 2, is to keep everything that's minor like this in mind so that you can use it as leverage in the future. So while you're doing all this, you're looking confident, you're going around the car, you're making sure that the paint's good and noticing every little imperfection, like little scratches like that, little dents, door dings. Don't mention them, just walk around the car, act confident. Notice this, notice that the hood, someone has definitely used sandpaper and they did use too aggressive grit. I don't know, can you get close? Someone has definitely used too aggressive sandpaper. I don't know what they were trying to do. There's honestly no telling. I think you guys can see that, but there is no clear coat on this hood left. You can use that as leverage, but don't mention it right away. Be calm, keep doing your evaluation. And after this, you can move on to step number 3, which is checking for oil leaks. All right, guys, so I know oil leaks are a huge deal and a huge concern, especially with used cars that have 100K, 200K miles. So I'm gonna go over why I check underneath the car before I check any other spot. So follow me. If you look underneath the car, get down, see if you can get down with me. If you look underneath the car, I'm on my knees. Babe, let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. This is front wheel drive, so this would not be a good example. I just went blank. All right, so we're gonna use this car as an example. It's front wheel drive, so the transmission is actually sideways on these CR-Vs. Typically on my Silverado SS, there's a engine and then the transmission and then the drive shaft. You wanna check where the transmission mounts up to the engine. A lot of times the rear main seal will be leaking, and if it does, the oil will trickle down and then trickle down the transmission and it'll have wet spots on the engine, on the transmission, on the oil pan. Always, please, always assume that it's the worst. They will try and tell you, okay, it's just the oil pan gasket, you need to fix that, or the oil filter's loose. Never assume that. Always assume that it's the rear main seal or something of that sort, because that's going to be the most labor. And if someone's trying to sell something, they probably know that, and they're going to try and say something that's a $20 fix that's actually a $900 fix because of all the labor that it takes. You have to remove the transmission, you have to remove the drive shaft, and so on. So check underneath the car for oil leaks, please, please, please. If there is any, be cautious. Walk away from the deal. Research if there are common spots that leak oil on that specific car that you're looking for. And secondly, check for oil leaks underneath the hood. So we will pop the hood. So we're gonna pop the hood, and I will show you guys spots to check. I have no stick to support this, but if you guys look, make sure that you lean over the engine bay and really get down in these cracks. Make sure that that is not, there's no oil on this. Typically there's valve covers that you can see on this. Honestly, this Honda CR-V is a little different of a vehicle, but make sure that there's no wet spots. It could be power steering fluid, it could be something of some sort, but just go around the edges and really check for these oil leaks. Also, while you're in here, you definitely want to read the oil, check the oil, make sure that it's good, and make sure that it has a good amount of oil in it. If it's low, you can use that as leverage again, guys. But if it's low, it could be either burning oil or it could be leaking oil. So always take this into consideration. Don't mention it. Just keep it in the back of your head when you go to negotiate. All right, guys, so now that we are done with the outside, essentially, we're gonna go to the inside, and I'm gonna show you guys what to look for. Typically on inside, this has a funny alarm. All right, guys, so now that we are in the interior, when you start the car up, you want to test everything. Make sure that you test the AC. The AC can be one of the most costly repairs, and it can be one of the easiest things to push on another person. So turn it on, make sure the AC button is lit up. You can see it's lit up there, and that the AC is working correctly. A lot of people say it's Freon. 90% of the time is not. They just went to the mechanic and tried to fix it, and they told them they needed a compressor, and it's gonna be about $700 to $900. But they'll hit you with, it's just a $30 can of Freon. But in reality, why would they not just spend $30 to not even have to bring that issue up to you? So that is a red flag. Also, make sure that all windows roll up and down as normal. So basically all electronics. If it has power seats, make sure that those work, because if it's stuck in one position, this one doesn't have power seats, I don't believe. Nope. So if it's stuck in one position and you go to resell it, or if you want to buy it and you can't move it and you're in this short person position and you're 6'1", it's very, very annoying for you or even just the next person. Look at the headliner. See these stains right here. Use that as leverage. Keep that in your head, guys. I promise you guys, it is something that you can use. Look at the cloth seats. Make sure that they're okay. If it is all cloth interior and it's been smoked in, understand that it'll be very hard, if not impossible, to get that smoke smell out, depending on how long it's been smoked in and how bad it smells. So open all these latches, make sure they open and close correctly. Nothing is broken, and once you go from there, then it begins the test drive. So we're about to get a test drive, and I'll show you guys what to check from there. All right, guys, so now that we are on the test drive, we're just gonna do this in the neighborhood. But one thing that a lot of people don't think about is when you're testing, right now we're testing for the mechanical aspect of this car. So you want to turn it sharp. You want to make sure that you're really working those ball joints. Make sure that they aren't worn out. If they are, again, you can use them as leverage, or you can walk away from the deal because of that issue. But go over these bumps. Make sure you hit these speed bumps, all these little bumps, because that'll jar the front end and make those ball joints really stand out to you. Make sure that the steering is tight. It's not hard to steer. If so, it could be a sign of a bad power steering pump or the fluid's out. But the most important thing that I want to stress that a lot of people don't do, and it could really hurt you in the near future, is I'm about to floor it completely through a gear. So here we go. Make sure, there you go. So that was a smooth shift. You shift out completely 100% through a gear, because that creates friction on those clutches under stress. Meaning if it didn't slip under that, it's not going to slip under a normal load, and you should be good for another, at least 30, 40,000 miles left on this transmission. Not always. That's a good indicator that it has a good lifespan left in it. And that is something that a lot of people don't do. They just test drive them. They don't stress the car out. And it's very, very important that you do. Also, it is very important to hit the freeway and go about 70 miles an hour, 75, 80 miles an hour, because you'll start to get wobble if, you know, it's out of whack, if it's out of alignment. We can't do that right now, but you know, those steps are some of the most important things to do with a car that a lot of people overlook. So again, understand that you need to stress out the car mechanically so that you do not have to pay a bunch of money in the future, regardless if you go to resell it or if you go to keep it. You want to reduce all that risk by stressing it out up front on the test drive. But again, that is really just it for this video. I hope you guys found it informative. I hope it helped you guys in some sort of way. I've learned a lot of mistakes by not doing some of these, and it's really took a toll on me and costed me thousands of dollars having to replace the transmission because I did not floor it through a gear, and I would have found out in seconds if I would have just done that. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to learn more about what we do on a daily basis, how we help people find the best deals in their area, I'm telling you, click the first link down below. It is so worth it, so informative, and it's just 5-6 minutes of your time to learn a little bit more about a market that you could either break even in on your next vehicle or make a little bit of money off of it like we do on a daily basis. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.